Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today it is Thursday, day 9 of our 2026 NFL position ranking series here on the channel. Today we're continuing the nitty-gritty of the rankings with our top 10 running backs. And other news, training camps have officially opened. The Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers, who are playing in the NFL Hall of Fame game on August 6th, have officially opened their training camp today, had their first practices. The Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett, who was a hot topic going into training camp, did report for training camp. And even with the contract dispute he's going through, so he's projected to be the Cardinals starter. And the Carolina Panthers, devastating news out of Carolina, Nick Scornton, their edge rusher, was hurt, torn ACL. He is done for the season. That's the worst part about training camp is the injuries, man. It sucks, but yeah. Before I do get into today's ranking, if you guys do enjoy today's video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more content exactly like this. And without further ado, let's get into our top 10 running backs in the NFL. Coming in at the number 10 spot on the list, we have Los Angeles Ram, former Notre Dame running back, Kyren Williams. Number 23, a little bit of a bell cow. I don't want to call him a bell cow because Blake Corum gets some snaps too, but this is the Los Angeles Rams starter, over 1,000 yards last season. A key piece in the Los Angeles offense for MVP Matthew Stafford. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He's an elite runner, and he sneaks in right here at number 10. So obviously this competition in the back half of the top 10. This is a guy who's not in the cream of the crop, not in the absolute top of the NFL running back rankings, but he finds a spot in the top 10 here at number 10 on the list, Kyren Williams. Coming in at number 9 on the list is a guy who some might consider had an underwhelming 2025 campaign this past season, but it is former Las Vegas Raider, current Green Bay Packer running back Josh Jacobs. This guy, he's obviously going into his third year at the Green Bay Packers now, is probably the premier player in the Packers offense besides Jordan Love. Obviously, their receiver room, everybody kind of knows it's been a receiver room by committee. They've had a lot of number 2s and number 3 type wide receivers playing roles like Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Savion Williams, Samori Toure, Dontavian Wicks, and the list goes on. That's kind of been the receivers they had. But this guy, he's the bell cow. He gets all the carries for Green Bay, and a little bit of underwhelming, under 1,000 yards this past season, but this ranking isn't strictly off last season, so he finds a spot at number 9 on the list. Coming in at the number 8 spot on the list is Fantasy Football Demon. He was on my fantasy team last year. It is Dolphins running back Devon Achane. This guy is one of the premier receiving threats out of the backfield among running backs in the league. He is obviously one of the best at what he does in that category. As you can see right there, catch out of the backfield, run after catch, and he ends up getting in the end zone, as you can see on that highlight. That's the type of stuff he does for the Miami Dolphins. Motion, I'd say that was Mike McDaniel's thing. Motion out of the backfield, pre-snap motion. Devon Achane catches the ball in the backfield, yak yardage and rack yardage. That's his specialty. I'm not saying he's not a good runner. He's a very good runner as well, but catching the ball in the backfield is his specialty, as he comes at number 8 on the list. Coming in at the number 7 spot on the list, it is Buffalo Bills running back James Cook. An absolute stellar season from this guy last year. Pro Bowler, I believe he was an All-Pro. Was he an All-Pro? I believe he was. But last season was absolutely outstanding. Double-digit touchdowns. I think he had up towards 1,500 yards. He was an absolute beast for the Buffalo Bills last year. That running game paired with Josh Allen, who can run at the quarterback, obviously. We'll talk about him more tomorrow in the quarterback rankings, obviously. And then James Cook, that running offense tandem, worked with Sean McDermott. I expect it to continue with Joe Brady. And the resume speaks for itself this season. Absolutely elite. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills were a playoff team. Number 6 seed, ended up getting eliminated in the divisional round of Denver, but there was a little bit of fumbling issues, as you can actually see on cue there. He almost dropped the ball, almost fumbled the ball on that play, ended up getting it back, but he comes in at number 7 on the list. At the number 6 spot on the list, we have a guy who was in MVP conversations at one point during the 2025 NFL season, but it is Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. Again, a guy who started off very hot last year. Started off as running back 1 in fantasy. He was an MVP candidate. I remember after that Falcons game, the Colts were like, 6-2, 7-2. They were rolling. Daniel Jones is playing good football. Jonathan Taylor was an MVP candidate, arguably the MVP frontrunner. I might be on record saying that on one of the game pick videos. But he was great. And then it all kind of came toppling down for the Colts last year. That strut in the end zone was an absolute staple on red zone early in the season. But then the Colts kind of came crashing down. Daniel Jones was hurt, signed Phillip Rivers, and eventually missing the playoffs. So, yeah, his first half of the season was elite. Obviously, doesn't take away from the great season he had last year, and he comes in at number 6 on the list. Starting off the top 5 with 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey. Everybody knows about this guy. Health has been his biggest concern. But when this guy's on the field, he's had some seasons where he's gotten injured. But when this guy's been on the field, he has been one of the best dual-threat running backs in the NFL's history, quite frankly. Carolina, everybody remembers the 2019 season with the Panthers. Rushing and receiving, he was an absolute beast, the number 1 player in fantasy football that season. And this past season, he was very similar. Did he have 1,000? He might have 1,000 receiving yards and 1,000 rushing yards this past season. I believe he did in 2019, but absolutely outstanding. One of the premier dual threats in the league. He is as good as it gets at both. I say him and Devon Achane are probably the 2 best receiving backs in the league. But in Kyle Shanahan's offense, this guy's a Swiss Army knife. He can run the ball. He's not really the bell cow runner anymore. He split time with guys like Jordan Mason when Jordan Mason was in San Francisco. And I believe last year was Brian Robinson. But yeah, he can do it all. He's a top 5 running back in the league. And he comes in at number 5 on the list. Coming in at the number 4 spot on the list is a guy who had some sort of an underwhelming 2025 campaign after his generational 2024 campaign and leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl title. But everybody knows it is Saquon Barkley, the Madden cover athlete this past season. Everybody remembers 2024, 2,000 yards rushing. I think he broke the single-season Eagles rushing yard record, considered widely pretty consensus the best running back in the league coming into last season. And 2025 is a little bit of a disappointment, but as I've said with every single Eagles player on this ranking, I don't think the blame is all on them. I've said that about the offensive line. I said that about A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I said that about all of these guys. Kevin Patullo and the Eagles offense was an absolute disaster last season, and I'll probably continue to say it with Jalen Hurts when I talk about him tomorrow. But yeah, the Eagles offense as a whole was not very good. But then again, on a down year for Saquon Barkley, he still had 1,000 yards and multiple touchdowns. So still a solid season, and comes in at number 4 on the list. At the number 3 spot on the list, we have future Hall of Famer, former Tennessee Titan, current Baltimore Raven. Everybody knows the name. It is Derrick Henry, and he just keeps adding to his legacy after every single year goes on. How old is he at this point? 31? 32? Still elite, obviously one of the great power backs in the history of the National Football League, had all those great seasons with the Tennessee Titans, being a 2,000-yard rusher and joining the Baltimore Ravens. And I'd say similar to James Cook, similar to Saquon Barkley, that backfield tandem with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry is what makes this Baltimore Ravens rushing offense special, and is really what adds Derrick Henry's game and only excels Derrick Henry's game after all the great years he had with Tennessee. But he comes in at number 3 on the list. Coming in at number 2, everybody knows the top 2 already, but at number 2, it is Detroit Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs. And he will finally have the backfield to himself this year. I'd say mostly. Isaiah Pacheco was signed in Detroit, but I do not expect him to take on the role that David Montgomery had. David Montgomery has moved on to Houston, and it is Jahmyr Gibbs' backfield officially. Everybody remembers this duo that has been Sonic and Knuckles for the past 2 or 3 seasons now, 3-4 seasons maybe. In Detroit, Dan Campbell. They've both been very good, but Jahmyr Gibbs, over 1,000 yards again, former first-round pick out of Alabama, and a slam dunk for the Detroit Lions. When Jahmyr Gibbs was picked, I thought it was a little bit of a reach. I expected Jahmyr Gibbs to go in the later half of that draft in the first round, but he went early, and Detroit has gotten everything they've wanted and more out of him, as he has been absolutely outstanding, and he comes in at number 2 on the list. And at number 1, the best running back in the league, deemed a generational prospect out of Texas, it is Bijan Robinson. And again, similar to Jahmyr Gibbs, he finally will have the backfield to himself this season. Tyler Algier has moved on to Arizona. But yeah, Bijan, the best running back in the league, he was deemed a generational prospect when he came in. And similar to Jahmyr Gibbs, he has lived up to everything he was hyped up to be and more. This is the Falcons' best player pretty clearly, and I don't think there's much debate at this point, sparking that he is the best running back in the league. He puts up stats, and no matter how much of a disaster the Atlanta Falcons have been, this guy has been that guy. He will probably go number 1 in most fantasy drafts this season, and I expect him to keep doing his thing as number 1 on the list, Bijan Robinson. And here is the full list of running backs. I mapped out my top 20. As you can see, the top 10 as follows. We voiced over Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, and Kyren Williams. Just missing new Kansas City Chief Kenneth Walker, Travis Achane. I always call him ETN, but I think when he signed with the Saints, he had an introductory press conference and said that his name is actually pronounced Achane, similar to Devon Achane. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll call him Achane now. It feels so weird not to call him Travis Etienne, but Travis Achane Jr., New Orleans Saints signing. Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, DeAndre Swift, Zach Charbonnet, Jalen Warren, and Travion Henderson. With some honorable mentions being as follows: David Montgomery, Ashton Genty, who I expect to have a big rebound season. Offensive line is better. Tyler Linderbaum is signed. Ramondre Stevenson, Kyle Monangai, who was the 7th round pick out of Rutgers, so was very good for the Bears. Cam Scatteraboo, James Conner, and Tyler Algier following and rounding out the ranking. But yeah, that is going to do it for today's running back ranking. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like on the video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications for more content exactly like this. We will be back tomorrow for my favorite day of the ranking, and mostly everybody's favorite day of the ranking that sparks up the most debate: quarterbacks. It'll be interesting to see how I rank these guys and what everybody thinks. But yeah, have a great night, and I will see y'all tomorrow for day 10 and the final day of the second week of the 2026 NFL ranking series.